Hello, everyone. Again, I'm George Brown of the ministry From Darkness to Deliverance. And I'm going to share with you a story today about a young lady, her mother, and her brother. My ministry, when I was in Lubbock, I would go out to Texas Tech and I would meet with a lot of the students in the cafeteria. You couldn't go out there to do Bible stuff, but you could go and eat with them and communicate with them. It seemed to be when kids were in college or are in college, was a lonely, hard time for many of them. And this girl, I met her brother, and he asked me if I would visit with his sister. And Sally, her sister named Sally, this will be her story that I'm sharing with you. The title of this video is Too Late to Say Goodbye. Life is uncertain. Death can arrive without warning. And because of this, families must strive to stay connected to protect a fragile thread of a relationship that binds them together. I pray you can never allow disagreements to fester into bitterness or understanding to grow into and transmit. Too often, discord creates distance, and reconciliation only comes when it's too late. After someone that passed away, Sally's story will reflect the sorrow that can unfold when ties are severed and regrets arrive too late. There was a mother who raised two children, a boy and a girl. In time, both grew up and left home, seeking their place in the world. Sally, her daughter, eventually married, but her life became troubled. When she called her mother, their conversation often centered on her problems with her husband. Over time, the mother's attitude towards her son-in-law soured. In Sally's eyes, it felt like hatred. And this poisoned their relationship, and resentment grew. Words became sharp. Slowly, Sally pulled away. First emotionally, then completely. She stopped calling, she stopped visiting, and she never looked back. Years passed. The mother became seriously ill. Her son called Sally to inform her of their mother's sickness. She promised to come, but she didn't. One night their mother died. Her son tried to reach Sally, but she was overseas vacationing with her husband. No one knew exactly where she was, and she didn't keep in touch. Well, the funeral came and went. A month later, Sally finally called. Her brother gently delivered the news. There was a long, aching silence on the other end of the line. Then the tears came. Sally sobbed bitterly, saying she was coming home. But that took another 2 weeks for her to come. Guilt and shame became prison bars. When Sally arrived, the home was empty. Her brother had packed and sold everything to cover medical expenses in the funeral. As Sally stood in the yard, a neighbor approached her and gently asked, where she had been. She couldn't answer. She was grieved and erupted into uncontrollable and raw crying. My mother is dead. My mother is dead. She yelled over and over. She collapsed, overwhelmed by such deep grief. The neighbor called for help and she was taken to the hospital. After recovering, she returned to her husband, but she didn't contact her brother again for a while. He tried to reach out. She ignored him. Silence became their language. Eventually, Sally did return to her childhood home. But the place had changed. The grass was tall and brittle. The windows were shattered. The porch swing she once adored now hung crooked and lifeless. She stood in the yard once more, alone crying. She returned there often for comfort, but for sorrow, hoping somehow to be forgiven. But silence persists. Final reflection of this story. It's tragic that some families only recover their connection through death. Grief has a way of showing us what we should have cherished all along. Relationships matter, even intention. We sometimes try to make it alone in life. We need family and we need other people. Communication matters, even when it's hurt. Patience matters, even when words fail. So I ask again this question to each and every one that listen to this video. With my little stumbling sometimes reading it, how long has it been since you've been home? Not just physically, not just spiritually, emotionally, relationally. There may still be time to go back, to forgive, to forget. Don't wait until the porch swing. Stop moving. Sally. She was a beautiful spirit. I often wonder sometime now where she would be. And I will be doing a part 2 on her story because it's kind of long and I want to share that story with you. But I want to share another story coming up pretty soon about a young girl that I met from New Mexico. She had a mother, father, and a brother. And she is the product of swingers. In other words, mother and father would go to swinging parties. And she got pregnant for a gentleman during that time. Very interesting young lady. I wrote a lot of her book on No Place to Cry. She wanted me to put a section in that says, I asked God, and he said yes. Beautiful young spirit. Stay with this ministry. Stay with this journey. Subscribe. Hit the like button. And let's work together to try to help one another. I'm Minister George Brown. Peace.